Hundreds of billions of dollars are pouring into artificial intelligence right now. Companies are rushing to build the massive physical infrastructure required to process the next generation of large language models. At the state level, politicians are fast-tracking the permits. They argue that building these enormous server hubs is an urgent matter of national security, necessary to outpace competing global powers like China. This map shows the current pipeline of planned AI data centers. Right now, approximately 50% of these proposed projects are flatlining. They are being delayed, canceled, or abandoned entirely. Local municipalities are refusing to pay the hidden physical costs required to sustain these facilities, bringing multi-billion-dollar developments to a sudden halt. The abstract concept of the cloud is colliding with the hard reality of physical Earth. What started as a smooth tech rollout has triggered a war of attrition between massive tech corporations and small-town zoning boards. Processing AI requires up to 5 times more electricity than traditional servers. As power demands scale, so does heat. To cool these massive server banks, facilities draw millions of gallons of water daily, creating a tight water energy nexus. Many towns slated for these projects have much smaller water demands than the data centers themselves. Approving just one facility can threaten to exhaust a local municipality's entire daily water supply. To secure local approvals, developers promise residents a wave of long-term economic prosperity and permanent employment. But the data on the ground shows a different reality. The majority of the jobs created are temporary construction roles. Once the facility is built, it employs very few people, while leaving the town's taxpayers holding the bag for long-term infrastructure maintenance, like heavy road repairs and electrical grid upgrades. Developers regularly use a tactic called site speculation. They submit applications for up to 10 different locations simultaneously, knowing they only need one. They use the other 9 as leverage, threatening to pull out to bully local governments into dropping environmental standards or offering larger tax breaks. When the math is done, the promised local economic boom turns out to be a net fiscal negative. The facilities extract massive amounts of physical resources while shifting the financial burden onto the community. Existing public power grids were not built to support this kind of load. The energy requirements of a single AI facility can overwhelm regional electrical infrastructure entirely. Unable to rely on public grids, tech giants are pivoting to a model called captive power. They are applying to build their own private power plants, effectively acting as independent utility companies to run their servers. These private power plants run primarily on natural gas. Feeding them requires heavy extraction and the construction of massive new transmission pipelines. Approving a single data center creates a pathway for a spreading network of underground pipelines to expand into neighboring regions. Attaching fossil fuel infrastructure to technology permits allows projects to bypass standard environmental regulations and zoning boards that block industrial expansion. State-level lobbyists representing the natural gas industry and the building trades actively work to ensure these regulatory loopholes stay open, securing continuous heavy construction contracts. This strategy transforms technology hubs into heavy industrial extraction zones, using the artificial intelligence boom as cover for long-term fossil fuel expansion. Citizens in these communities recognize the physical costs. They are packing public hearings, actively organizing to halt construction of these facilities. What began as isolated town-by-town environmental complaints has evolved. Residents are now forming a nationwide network, communicating across state lines to share legal strategies and zoning best practices. The central conflict has become a legislative war over siting authority, the legal right of a municipality to dictate exactly what gets built within its borders and where. State governments are pushing back aggressively. Legislatures are introducing bills to strip local control, forcing these data centers through by overriding local objections. But local governments are deploying their ultimate defense mechanism, the moratorium. The state of Maine, for example, is advancing legislation to legally lock down all new major data center construction until at least 2027 to assess the true physical impact. This relentless legal pushback is working. Facing organized local resistance and growing delays, major developers and skeptical investors are being forced to reassess the financial viability of their infrastructure models or abandon them completely. Despite billions in capital and state-level backing, the final authority remains with the residents who control the physical land and the local water supply.